Easy everybody, my name's Ben, this is Duz Denim and the Clobbercast is back, but this time it's going on YouTube. This is episode 1 and today I'm going to answer some of your questions. So let's talk clobber. Duz Denim it's my humble little menswear store in the town centre of Barnsley, up in the north of England. Specialising in denim and canvas, as you can probably guess by the name. And then we like to do as hoodies, as sweaters and as basics as well. So we're here, we love the community, we love building communities, and this is the start of a new one. Worked in clothing for years. I started my first vintage shop when I was 22 years old, so 20 years worth there. For a long time I worked in vintage clothing. I really found it interesting. I worked for a great company called Glass Onion Vintage. And it was just as I got a little bit older, I started to learn a little bit more. I started to get into different elements of denim and menswear. And it was just a natural progression that it went into me working with new products. And that is basically what Duz Denim is. And when people say, what do you do? The shop does denim. That's literally where the name came from. I think it's a funny subject, like what's wrong with the clothing industry? Because you could look at one thing and say there's a million things wrong. You could say fashion's wrong. I mean, it's not going anywhere though, is it? Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. I personally have a bit more of a passion for clothing that's built a little bit better. It's a little bit more hard wearing. And I really like being able to put character onto it. Like you would with a raw pair of jeans, as we all know, they fade out and they become your own. I enjoy that process. In order to be able to do that, you buy a good quality denim. Therefore, Duz Denim exists. If there's anything wrong, I don't really like to touch on that too much. I like to focus on what I'm doing and making sure I'm doing the best at what I can do. What did I do differently? I kept my overheads low. As you can see, I mean, if you've been to see the shop, you'll know that I'm up in the rafters of a building. There's just a door on the street as opposed to a shop window. I kept my overheads low so I could keep my prices fair. And it was a bit of a risk at start, but luckily that translated. I also work closely with the guys at Bzen Clothing, with Charles and Matty and Denim Design Lab. There ain't really anybody else stocking that product in the UK. So it's only in this shop, which then gave me another little edge. And I work with them really closely. Obviously, I've been over and seen them and whatnot, and long may that last. So yeah, what I'd say is I basically went for stock that nobody else had. I got a really good relationship with the brands and the factory, and I kept my overheads low so I could really work on business and it be sustainable without worrying about bills too much. Does, right, literally, it doesn't stand for anything. When I was looking for a name for the shop, I decided not to run with Clobbercast, because that were a previous shop that I had before lockdown, but it is still my social media handle, as they call it. And I was just thinking to myself, right, what's the shop do? And I thought, well, it does denim. And then I thought, oh, Duz Denim. It works, it's catchy, 2 Ds, it'll do. And so I didn't really overthink about it too much, because once I go down that wormhole, I can come up with a million names and never actually decide which one's right, or the logo, like 1,000 logos. I'm like, oh, I can't decide. So I just kept it really simple. And like I said, focused on doing what I can do best, which is getting brothers in some good quality clobber so they feel good and provide a service. What's the hardest thing about starting out? Yeah. Well, I've worked in retail and shops for many, many years. It's never easy starting out, but I have made a lot of mistakes in the past, so I managed to avoid them this time. I think one of the most important things is to remember when you're opening, I don't care if it's a clobber, clothing shop, it could be selling candles, you could be selling whatever, it's knowing what your customers that are going to come will want from you. And so you're sort of trialling products at first. That bit's always hard. And also your connections, nobody does it on their own. For me personally, I've got really good connections and friends with a factory, Charles, Matty. So they bend over backwards for me and for my customers. So that makes it a little bit easier. But in general, yeah, the hardest thing is putting the stock on the shelves before the shop's actually open and thinking, is this what people are going to want? As I've got a little bit older, I've got a young family, kids that range from 3 to 20 years old. So it's quite a span. And basically, travelling outside, maybe a Leeds shop or a Sheffield shop, I've done that, temporary shops with vintage. The commute is really difficult when you're basically a taxi driver from 5:30 every day. Football practice, netball practice, golf, bloody, and so I had to stay close. So we're always 10 minutes away from school, 10 minutes away from football, 10 minutes away from my house. And I also, with the renovation and the development that's gone into Barnsley town centre, it's a different place to what it were 10 years ago. And I thought, you know what? This can work now. This can work now. Do you know what I mean? The invention of the internet and social media makes life a lot easier as well. People can get exposed to a lot more than what they used to be able to. So I just thought, yeah, we'll give it a go. Who is Duz for? Now, that's a good question. We sort of have an ethos where we like to say Duz is for the working man. You can go and buy raw denim jeans and some amazing fabrics and some amazing brands, and you can pay £300, £400, £500 for them. We like to stick between the 125 and the 140 range, simply because it's affordable. You don't have to come in and buy 3-4 things at a time. You might come in and treat yourself to one thing every 6 weeks, but it's affordable. And I suppose Duz Denim is for me. I think about me, my young family, what that costs. And I think, well, what could I afford to buy if I didn't have this shop? So I look at it from that way. And I think, well, I could probably afford to come in here and I could justify buying one thing a month. And that's it. So if I can do that for other people, to me, that's a service I'd find valuable. So I try and follow that ethos. Well, what makes Duz different? Yeah, we have kind of touched on it. There isn't anybody else with this stock. That's the obvious one. You can check it all out, duzdenim.com. See, did that then. You can check it all out and have a look, and it's nowhere else in the UK. So that's what makes us different. Right, what's the goal and where is Duz going? This is a really good question, and I do think about it a lot. I don't like the idea of becoming a commercial town centre, big windows style shop. I prefer to keep it niche. I prefer to keep it small, so you can control it and look after your customers a little bit better. I love creating products. I love working with Bees in Clothing and Denim Design Lab and buying, new lines in and trying them out and speaking to my customers about it. So we're just sort of on a steady away trajectory. That's it. I don't think it needs overcomplicating. Look after your customers. They'll keep coming back. If they keep coming back, therefore, by default, you grow. So one thing comes with others. If you just focus on providing a good service, then everything should sort of fall in line with it afterwards. Why should people care? Well, one, because I have managed to develop skills over 20 years when it comes to clothing and fits, and I do know body types. I do see them all every day, all day, and always have done. The product is unique. We are very friendly, very open. There's absolutely zero snobbiness in Duz Denim. We're as normal as it comes. And we make a right good brew. That's why you should care, because we make a brew. A right good one. Yeah, and we're honest. We're honest and we work hard. That's it. Do we get stuff wrong? Yes. All the time. Do we make mistakes? Yes. All the time. But it's never intentional, and it's never because we've neglected something. Just is. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Ben. This is Duz Denim. This is just episode 1. We are going to be following these up once a week at least, plus maybe others. So do hit the subscribe button, because as I keep getting told, without that we can't get better. So please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Much love as always. And of course, stay clobbered.